Hi everyone and welcome to Press X. I'm Rob.
I'm Rob too.
And today we're talking about sports. Yes, football in particular. Is there room for a third player? Now,
Who were the first two players though? I mean, like that needs saying. It's FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer or PES.
Yeah. But the thing is, at one time, we used to have this wealth of football games. There were games like Red Card and stuff like that.
This is football, Red Card, Actua Soccer, LMA Manager.
Sensible Soccer, Kickoff. Kickoff had a revival recently, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a good revival, Rob.
No, it wasn't a good revival, but all I'm saying is that at least the attempt was made.
I think, in answer to the question, yes, there is. Because I feel people are getting frustrated. I mean, there's YouTubers who do like FIFA career mode.
Yeah.
And they are angry. Like, genuinely angry. Because here's a game which they buy a game which costs, like $60, $60 every year?
Yeah.
For one mode. A mode that they love. Great. Like, a great deal of their heart. Because it's a game where you pick a club and you mould them and you take them to great success. But they're being absolutely ignored, where the mode doesn't make any sort of major updates year on year, and everything is just like a skin, like the Champions League skin was this year's upgrade. Yeah. Whereas you look at Ultimate Team, and because that's basically a license to print money, FIFA EA are not updating the game a great deal.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything. It's just they're printing money. Customers be damned.
Yeah, when you look at football games these days, my first question is, whatever happened to Virtua Striker?
It was too hard, Rob.
Yeah, I know it was too hard, but I got good with that game, I'll have you know. But you know, games like Virtua Striker, games like Sensible Soccer, Actua Soccer was another one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first game I got on PlayStation 1, that.
Yeah, but there was so many football games from over the years. I mean, back in the 80s with the old Commodore 64s, the ZX Spectrums, then later the Commodore Amigas, we had all sorts of games related to football. Not just the actual playing games. We also had the management games as well.
Yeah, I feel like with Codemasters, they did LMA Manager.
Yeah, LMA Manager was a cracking game.
I don't think it was in rose-tinted glasses here, sorry. You look back at these things and make them out to be more than the actual were, but I think the time is right for it to come back. Yeah. Because it was a decently detailed management sim.
Well, I mean, the thing is, in the mid-90s, there was also, it was out on the Amiga, if I remember rightly, it was Ultimate Soccer Manager, which...
Well, there is Football Manager and Championship Manager on the PC, let's not ignore them, they are the third franchise, but it's like... FIFA pairs notch.
Yeah.
Football Manager. So they really are like very low compared to like the stature that those two companies and games are.
Yeah, but I think people misunderstand how long football games have actually been around. Right. Just to give people an idea, there was if I remember rightly on the Commodore 64, back in '83 when I was still a kid. There was international soccer. There was various football games on the ZX Spectrum, like Match Day and Match Day 2 and stuff like that.
There's always been a demand to play games. I mean, even when you take it away from the digital and you've got like Subutio and things like that.
Well, most of these games, Football Manager on the ZX Spectrum, that was one of the first games I played on the ZX Spectrum, believe it or not.
It just goes to show, I mean, Konami... If that game wasn't Konami Pro Evolution Soccer International Superstar Soccer Pro Evolution Soccer 1998 Pro Edition, used to be called things like that.
Yeah.
And the ball used to sound like it was kicking around the brick.
International Superstar Soccer was 94, wasn't it? On the SNES?
Even so, it was a lot of them. And there was two separate Pro Evolution Soccer franchises. There was one on the PlayStation, and there was a different one on the Nintendo. It was like done by different teams. Yeah. But it just goes to show how much power EA have when all these things that we're talking about are dead. I mean, Championship Manager is kind of existing in its Football Manager. I don't know what it's called these days. It is existing in its own little side, in its own little corner.
The first PES game was 99, you're right.
Because there was two simultaneously existing around that era.
Yeah. This is the thing, though, right? I honestly think there is space for a third player in the football games market. And the reason why I say that is because...
I wouldn't just limit it to third. I'd say the
third, fourth, fifth, yeah. But the reason why I say that is because if you look on Android and iOS, on mobile phones and iPads and stuff like that, you've got games like New Star Soccer, and there was that one that my nephews were playing, some weird one. I think it was Score or something like that, where you basically took like... and there are other football games on iOS.
Is that the penalty one?
Yeah, I think Score was one of those free kick penalty type things.
Yeah, I call that.
But these games exist on mobile devices, and it seems like when it comes to actual games consoles and PCs, we're being starved of all of these other football games. But if you look on handheld devices, if you look on mobile gaming platforms, then you've got so many other football games that you can play.
The question here is, though, what would the other games be? Because in this industry where there's a lot of money going to a very small number of places, you have to have your selling point. I mean, you look at FIFA, what its selling point? It's Ultimate Team and the licenses.
Yeah.
PES's selling point is it's difficult and it's a challenge and it's a bit more serious, a bit more hardcore of a football game. So what else would these things be? And answering my own question, I think there's always going to be a space for red card soccer.
Yeah, there will be. But the thing is, red cards...
That's pure arcade, isn't it?
It's pure arcade, but red card soccer, basically, it got that place because of games like Speedball. Let's be fair.
If you don't know what red card soccer is, it was a game, PlayStation 2 era, I think, where you couldn't actually foul the other team. You just it was very, very violent soccer, basically, and you couldn't get sent off.
People, you had players that were getting carried off and nobody got sent off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine football crossed with a good punch-up.
It was fun. It was a fun game. And there's always room for stuff like that, I think. But like I said, that LMA Manager, I think, maybe not Codemasters doing it again, but that sort of big-scale, console-friendly management sim. Because I've tried to play Football Manager, and that's the sort of game that you need to invest more than a little bit of time in.
Well, not only that. I'll be honest, with the FIFA games, with the FIFA games, I actually preferred manager mode when it was done properly.
They've taken features off it, haven't they? They just peeled it back and scrimped it back.
I think it was it FIFA 11 or 12 was the last game I played where EA actually did a decent manager mode.
I think that was before they discovered that they could print money with Ultimate Team.
Yeah, and that's the annoying thing. PES, I think, suffers a bit from my perspective because it doesn't really have a great manager mode.
It's Master League was it's okay. It's had better times.
Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because why I look at it like that is because from my perspective, it's one thing to be a footballer, but these days most footballers are becoming managers afterwards.
Well, there's a lot of them that do it. I wouldn't say most, but a lot of them do it, yeah.
Most of the bigger name ones, I should say.
Are going to coaching.
Yeah, they're going to coaching or management or something like that, but they will stay within the football world. They're not like Dion Dublin, who goes on to, present Homes Under the Hammer.
Yeah, that worried me the first time I saw it. I thought I'd, had a mental breakdown or something.
Exactly. But that's the thing. It's bizarre career moves aside. Football games, people who play football games, they are happy to do a career mode as a player, but then progress that career mode into management, which is one of the reasons why player manager modes. And I was really annoyed when they got rid of player manager mode. Right?
Yeah.
I how much that pissed me off because that's my preferred mode.
Yeah. I put it this way: I usually spend hundreds upon hundreds of hours on a football game a year because it's basic. I don't mean this in a sort of negative sense. It's chewing gum for the brain. When it's rough at home and you just need something to take your mind.
Yeah,
you got your team that you can work on.
Well,
and spend countless hours in. This year, I don't think I've played any other football game because I'm just tired of the two options. It's like picking the least annoying of the two options.
Yeah.
And instead, I've been playing WWE 2K19 because I can actually run that sort of mode as I wish.
Yeah.
Which is something that I really miss.
The other thing about football games, though, they're great local co-op games. They're great to play with your mates, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They're really good to play with your mates, but most people will play games like FIFA with their mates. Very few will play games like PES. You've got to be a dedicated fan to be wanting to play PES with your friends.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, we're getting to the point where a third one will emerge sooner rather than later because of the bridges that FIFA are burning.
Well, that's the point I wanted to bring up, right? Because if you look, and this is one of the reasons why I brought up iOS and Android, because if you look at just Android for a second, right? Some of the best football games on Android platform, aside from the usual PES and FIFA, you've got stuff like Dream League Soccer, Real Football, Top 11, Score Hero, Real World.
One that you haven't mentioned that shows that a third one is in the coming. I mean, I know there's all those things on Android, but it just dawned on me. Robot League's a football game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So, Rocket League, sorry. I said Robot League, didn't I?
Yeah, you
Rocket
said
League is.
I knew what you meant.
Rocket League is showing that there is a space for football games to exist and it doesn't cater exclusively to football nerds.
Yeah.
And that third spot will open up very soon, I think.
Yeah. Do you know
whatever it may be? It's completely open playing field for what that third thing might be.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you know the interesting thing about the mobile market for football games?
They're all over the map. There's no one specific type of thing that these games are.
Yeah, they're all over the map, but more importantly, most of them are free. Yes, they have in-app purchases, but most of them are free.
It's a different environment now, isn't it?
It's a different environment, but that's the thing. When you talk about Ultimate Team and stuff like that, it's a license to print money. Then make the base game free.
If Ultimate Team is it's a free to play model. Give the game away for free and then charge people to play as much as they want to put into it,
Yeah.
Through that model. But to pay for £60 for a game and then play and complete a progress model like that on top of it is just avarice of the worst kind.
Yeah.
And it shows why people genuinely despise EA.
Yeah.
Because they're so out of touch with what people want. They just want to fill their pockets as fast and as much as they possibly can.
Thing is, I hate to say it, but PES is probably going to go the same way.
It'll have to be competitive, unfortunately.
Thing is, and that's the point. PES is going to have to go the same way because FIFA has already gone that way. And as you said, in order to stay competitive, I would love for Konami to have a look at PES and say, okay, right, we're going to approach this in a different way. Think outside the box. Actually communicate with gamers and fans and find out what gamers and fans want.
Well, they do that more than EA do.
Yeah, they do. They do. I mean, they've been, with the patches for the team names and the player names and the kits and stuff like that they do.
No, they don't do that. That's all fan made.
No, that's what I mean. But they're allowed. The fans are allowed to do that.
Oh right, yeah.
Do you see what I mean? How many game developers, how many publishers wouldn't let the fans mod a game?
Yeah, and I think that's telling. The third competitor, the third game in the football community is going to come sooner rather than later, and I'm excited for when that happens.
Yeah, I honestly think it's only a matter of time as well.
And that's it for this week. We've been Press X. Put your comments below if you have something to add to this discussion. But until next time, I've been Rob.
And I've been Rob.
Thanks for watching.